Welcome to Innate Express Podcast. I'm Haig John, chiropractor in Melbourne, Florida. Our mission is to ground you in service and inspire you to serve at your very best. Let's get started. You know, a lot of what we talk about really has to do with what are our beliefs about abundance. What is inhibiting us? It's different when we're a student, right? For me, I lived on student loans. Yeah.
Just want to be sure.
I lived on student loans. I did a little bit of catering for a catering company, serving people. I've worked in restaurants, in college and all that type of stuff, bartending, with jobs that I can study and also, feed myself with. In chiropractic school, we get a little bit of extra money to be able to live on, but it's not real easy just to live on that. If we're paying our tuition and working and going to school, there's very little time for having any life whatsoever. And I know people that did that. Or, in other financial things, no matter what, it's hard work through some parts of our life that we're living in a different level of abundance. Our abundance is abundance of studying in some places, abundance of chasing children, or, whatever it might be. But the abundance, when we get into allowing ourselves to be free of the restrictions that we've placed ourselves, as a student, I'm meant to be, restricted financially. Or as I've had people tell me, and one woman, she just came back with her second child, and when we were talking about with her first child, she said, I'm a 20-something, and we're just having a baby, and I'm freaked out about finances and money and all those things, and I understand that. I get it. When we had our child, it wasn't like we were, strapped for cash, but we were constantly thinking about money ourselves because we don't know what what we would consider burden to be for a child. We've never had one. We didn't know what it would cost. My dog was expensive, okay? Can you imagine, children, what am I going to do? And then I had a buddy of mine who, a South African guy, chiropractor, awesome fellow. He was working for me for a while. And he and his wife had their second child while he was here. And he said, kids aren't expensive when they're real small. Think about it. I mean, you don't have to buy them any food. You got mama. You got to feed her. You got to feed her anyway. So, and that for me was actually a little bit of relief. For somebody I respected and said that, okay, I get that a little bit, When for the first child, we have showers and people give us a little bit of clothes and everything. And we had enough clothes really until Bianca was about 2 or 3. And we still have some clothes that now she's 5 that she's just getting into, which is pretty awesome, And then people share clothes with children. And so there's abundance all around us. With the second child, it's so funny. One of our people said, you get a lot of love with the first one. Second one, everybody forgets about you. And you know what? With the second one, no one throws a shower. You get a few hand-me-downs here and there. It was
the babysitters disappear.
The babysitters really started to disappear.
You throw a third one in there, you don't have any babysitters.
You hear just crickets. But still there's abundance. Things come. And then by then, third one, you're meeting families or parents that have more than one child. And, you really work a little more collectively sometimes because our tribe is important. So having the abundance within the tribe, we have a stack of shoes that were never worn by Bianca or Malcolm. And we have a couple of families, hey, this will be great for your daughter. You just had a child. And the abundance is around us. For our fees and receiving money, I have myself just had, coming from student in that mentality of student abundance, right, to practice abundance and father abundance and all those things, that I've had to switch my paradigm a little bit, through those things to be able to receive, have money. I chose to make investments early in my career that I called land banking. I'd rather buy land and rentals and things that will pay me back a higher interest rate than I would in a bank if I hoarded the money. A free flow of energy is also very important, because abundance just doesn't mean I'm going to receive, and hide it, and then you're stuck. You're actually causing an energetic block to abundance. Cash flow is very important. I'm not saying give away all your cash, but put it in places that it's going to be more abundant in the future. There is flow around it, but it's also going to come back to us. So I invested our early money, and when we received more money, had more wealth, because everything is wealth, and we put it into places that would feed us back. If something, God forbid, happened to us, we can put it into life insurance, which is really death insurance, that type of thing. And I know you can cash those in at the end, but like I always say, I'm not an expert at that. I've tried to become an expert. I've done the research. I've invited people here to educate me, and I would potentially buy from them, but they weren't educated enough to sell me on death insurance. So I said, it's just not for me. So I land bank is what I call it, and put it in places that would be abundant for me in the future. And now we are at a time where a lot of those, and some of them have mortgages, are nearly paid off, and then they'll just be income, if you want to look at it in that sense, because they pay themselves, right? So investing is important. Consciousness of our own worth is important. Pricing in here, and for any practice in the world, they say 17% of people buy based on price alone. Driving to your favorite hair salon. It's not really how much they're usually fairly expensive, but a person's got to feed themselves. So that person, the hairstylist, male or female, has to determine their own worth, right? And will drive far and wide to do it. When I had more of an abundance of hair, I had the same thing. I did the same sort of thing. Someone I really liked, cared for, knew what I wanted. It was easy and expensive, but took care of the job. Same thing with our practices and determining what our worth is. And, when we're at certain scales, being a student or a recent graduate, how do I determine those things? And being congruent with that message. I had friends that got out of school, started charging $125 an adjustment using Activator, and they barely saw anybody. And if they saw them, they didn't see them very long, because they didn't have an idea for themselves really what abundance was. Someone told them, charge $125. You should be doing that. That's what you're worth. But they didn't know their own worth. And they failed. And I know they're doing other businesses now. I know that for a fact. Some of them, not all of them. But coming up with a number or price for ourselves of what it's worth to us. Now, I don't do personal injury very often, and I don't do court appearances and expert witnesses, but I've had one group ask me, would you be an expert witness? And I said, what it's value to me, if I've got to drive an hour and something to Orlando, I need driving expenses, and I charge $700 an hour. $700. And I just threw that number out there because I didn't want to go. I wanted them to say, no, never mind. They said, all right. Like, well, okay, I will drive for $700 an hour, including my drive back and forth, right? And of course, in a court, you're sitting around all day. Well, what happened? I never had to go. They just needed it settled, but my hours of reviewing the case, and I just logged my hours because, it was a binder of information. And I wanted to be an expert on that binder, so I spent a lot of time studying it. I logged all that time to and fro to the office as well, and they paid me a lot of money. And I thought, wow, that was very early in my practice, actually, my career. I haven't done it since, but it gave me a feeling of self-worth. I have a better value. Even though I've heard mentors and friends and chiropractors and people through years at DE and other places say things about our value and our abundance, it took me actually getting paid that to understand it, that I have value and people value me. Does that make sense? I feel very affordable fees in here. I don't give many discounts. I really feel it's time to raise our prices now, because we have abundance of people coming in. We see, on a slow month, 35 new people a month. On a busy month, 75 new people a month. Sometimes 100, okay? If I have abundance like that coming in, there must be, people are seeing value. Sometimes I have to take a look at myself and stock of my own life, of my own value. So in revaluing myself, a few bucks, and some people that I've given discounts in the past that get stuck on their discount amount, we've got, and you've been doing that. Our CA has been boosting them up to where everybody else is, which is important because we also have to transmit that value to them. And I've had one person, maybe more, that I've been giving a major discount for her for years. And when someone she referred in told her the amount that he paid for a prepaid package, which isn't very much, she said, "Oh, no," and I gave him a refund for it, and then they never came back because she didn't see the value. He saw the value immediately once he came here, but then the one that I was giving the discount to, what'd she do? She gave him her valuing in her mind, and then diminished that. And how far out did that go? It hurt my feelings tremendously. I have to say, that was a blow to me. I've been serving you and caring for your 5 children, and then someone to pay back maybe some of that abundance that I've been sharing with you, because that's a sharing of abundance that was actually removed from me, right? Oh, here, take it away. And writing a check, and I'll write it immediately. Here you go. Here's your money back. I don't want your energy in my life. But you know what? It stinks. I hate to write that check. It's not a fun check to write. I don't care who you are. But our abundance, our life, our health, how you want to live, because the time off that we have is very important. To be able to say, I'm going to unplug and unwind. It's hard to do when we're living in a way we're not necessarily happy, right? I would love to have I don't really love giant houses because it's harder to clean and keep neat, all those things. I want a house on the intercoastal. I want this. It's taking me a lot of work for this. I've got to do these things and put them in order to get that. Cash in maybe some investments, that type of thing. But it's worth it to me to actually work a little harder to get what I really want and maybe give up some other things, because to be able to unplug and unwind is so important. Because when you see 150 people a day and they're all complaining about something, not all of them, forgive me, we create that consciousness also in our office. It's important. But we get the news of the day. You know how many people got shot today? No, I don't. I have no idea. Please don't tell me. I don't watch the news. I don't want the energy and consciousness in here. I've got to work on that language for myself because we sometimes let it in, and kind of often. You complaining about this president and that candidate and this and that and the other and the dogs without food and the horses without whatever brings us to a level of, that's not what I want on my heart in a day when I'm serving. I want to be able to unplug and be able to sit in a place where I'm comfortable. If it's sitting and watching TV, you want to be able to pay your cable bill. If it's going home and reading a book, you want to be able to afford that book. You want to be able to take your kids to Disney. You want to be able to get gas to go to your nicest restaurant with your wife or your girlfriend, or boyfriend. You want to be able to have those moments where you can be at peace, because the more you're at peace, the greater abundance your body, your life, your spirit is able to accept. If you're at a high stress level and you're unable to, because, hey, Sid Williams said this, long days and sleepless nights. Roberto will tell you that first years in practice, especially with us, there are times I didn't sleep. I worked on what are we going to do today. I was talking about office flow for myself, writing it down, thinking about it every moment. How can I refine this? How can I refine my language? How can I be more at ease? Because that's important too. There were all that work to get to this point right now I'm in practice where it seems easy. Flow is comfortable, it's easy, but it's a lot of work to get there. So the abundance of time is the one that's hardest to achieve. That comes from investment of work for all these years to what seems like I have more time now to some people. Well, you work 3.5 days a week. You're working part-time. I've had people tell me that. I said, look, I got a lot of grumpy people like you in my life. I need time off to decompress all that grumpiness. Right? You know what you need to do? You need to take time off too because you're so grumpy. You can put that on the chalkboard. The whiteboard will send it out as an email. But life is perfect all the time. The more time we have to decompress, to let that stuff go, to vent, right, from pressure. Think about that in a system. You vent the pressure in a system so we can receive more into it, right? Life is a challenge at times. The times that it's a challenge, we need times to actually not think about the challenges, to be at ease, to be in joy, to be in love. It's hard to be in love and joy and happiness when we're at already our highest level of stresses. And today, I was waiting for a plumber this morning. Oh, yeah, they check in, at 7 o'clock, and we'll put you down for 8 o'clock appointment. They'll be at your house 8 o'clock. 7:52 rolled around. I said this, it was Independence Day yesterday. I wonder how many plumbers showed up to the plumbing place that I called. And so I called him 7:52. He said, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. I said that, they're going to be here and show up at this office. I said, no, you didn't. You said they're going to show up at my house at 8 o'clock. You haven't had any plumbers show up yet, have you? He said, no. I said, okay, I'm leaving then. Let's reschedule our appointment for Thursday. I don't serve people on Thursday. And we'll reschedule for then. Because he tried to talk me into waiting around. And I said, I'm not waiting around. And I've got other people. I've got electrician and our friend over here, Ray, to do work. And he was there. Okay. So I want to let him off the hook. So I don't want to take away from his journey in life. We think about that. He wants to be done with his job so he can enjoy his life. Before it gets hot. And I cranked the AC for him before I left. But if one person is holding us back, we also have to label that and say, okay, check mark. I'm going to separate from you for a while. My friend Oron Bernier used to say you have to update your Rolodex sometimes. You might not have Rolodexes these days, but you get the idea. You got to update your phone book. Your Facebook, your phone book, your friends list, whatever it is.
Do it all the time.
Shed.
House.
And you can block, messages. If they're negative, I don't get one negative political message anymore. Mm-hmm. Someone complains about the president or the whatever, boop, you're out. Or just block it. I don't defriend them very quickly. Unfollow. That's it. So today we're going to talk about together later changing our fee schedule. Okay, we are worth it. If we weren't, so many people wouldn't be referring to us. We have referrals coming from every direction all the time. There's value in that. The people that say no would say no anyway. We don't keep all those 75 people in the month. Because I tell them exactly what we do. It might not be what they want. I'm not focusing on your foot pain. But I'm going to help change your life. I'm going to help your body remove those subluxations so you can live freely. So your body can have the fullest potential to heal. You can go find somebody else to wrap your toe in seaweed. But that's not me. Right? You can stick your toe in the mud and do the same thing and it's free. Make sure it's not dog poop. So, being ourselves, we don't keep them all. But the ones that stay, pay, okay?
Quality.
They're quality over quantity. I'll have the quality of people coming in because every day I have a chance to teach someone about the innate body within them that heals them. A subluxation that might be inhibiting their child, their grandmother, their future children's life or their own. That is a very important mission to have in life. They get the message. If they don't want it now, they'll get it later, but they've been zapped, right? We do the same thing in screenings. I'm here for you right now. I'm going to educate you about a subluxation. The vocabulary is nearly the same as the exam. I'm not doing a bait and switch. I'm not going to massage you or shock you or clip your toenails, pull your nose hair, and then switch you to, oh, I'm going to check your subluxations today. That's dumb, if you ask me. I'm going to help transform your life right now. If you want that, I'm here. If you don't, I'm still here. Send your friends. Okay? So I've been waiting for this message this morning. I couldn't wait to get it out because today I value myself more than I did yesterday. Okay? And tomorrow I might do the same. And again and again. Because I love myself first. My children and my wife, I hate to say it, but have to come second. Because I have to love myself first. That's a very important realization. Because as a parent, we give and give and give. But to take control of ourselves first, love ourselves first, then we have more love to give to everyone else around us. Love is an abundance all around. But if we're clouded by stress, lack of abundance, lack mentality, everything else, then that love that we share is really diminished because it has to go through that quagmire goo. All right? I love and appreciate you. I love and appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.